Hello, my name is Purna Murthy and I'm a yoga teacher. Maybe you've already watched the video about breathing properly. If you haven't, I suggest you have a look at that. But what we're going to talk about now is how you can use the breath to help you to relax and to help to relieve your anxiety. When you do become very tense, when you become anxious, then you lose the rhythm of your breath and it can start to make you feel very uncomfortable. Your mouth gets dry, you can feel a little bit lightheaded. So what you need to do first of all is to release as much tension as you can. This is easier to do if you're at home because you can sit down, let your back be nice and straight, and you need to then lower your shoulders, which will probably be up somewhere around your ears. So you take in a nice big deep breath, lift them even more, and then you go and lower the shoulders down. Do that 2 or 3 times until you feel that your shoulders have started to relax a little. Even if you're in a public place, you can do this. A little shrug of your shoulders and a little sigh. No one will notice. If you're standing up and you feel that your body is tense all over, then create a little bit of space between your feet. Sway a little bit gently from side to side to unlock the tension in your knees. Do that little sighing breath. And anywhere that you feel your body is very, very tense, imagine that the breath is releasing that tension every time you sigh the breath away. Another way to use the breath is to imagine that you've got a straw in your mouth and you're blowing the breath down the straw. It sounds like this. If it feels like there are 1,000 thoughts crowding in your mind, thoughts that make you feel uncomfortable, that your mind isn't as clear as you'd like it to be, then take up the idea that as you blow the breath out in that way, you're creating space between the thoughts so that you can think a little more clearly. It's a wonderful breath for you to feel as though you're getting back into control. Just blowing the breath out helps to slow the breath down, and this is going to make you feel a little more calm. Each time you breathe out, see if you can make that breath a tiny little bit longer and slower. But don't let it become uncomfortable. The breath should be comfortable. Once you feel as though you've taken back a little bit of that control of the breath, then you can start to try and make your breathing in the same length as your breathing out. And that's going to have a very positive effect on the way that you feel. You can do this by counting. Maybe start with a count of 3. Breathe in, 1, 2, 3. Breathe out, 1, 2, 3. And if it's possible, just keep lengthening the breath a little bit, keeping the breaths the same length. And again, this has a very, very calming effect on your whole being. If you're in a public place and you feel a little bit panicky, and you feel like you have to leave right now, there's a good trick you can apply to yourself using the breath, in which you take a breath in and you say to yourself, I stayed here for the last breath. And then you breathe in again and you say to yourself, I'm staying here for this breath now. And then you take another breath in and you say, and I'm going to take the next breath here. And I'm going to be the one to choose to leave after that. And in this way, you're only staying an extra little bit of time, but you're the one who's chosen to leave rather than the panic telling you when to leave. And if you keep practicing this little trick, you can start lengthening the number of breaths you take where you're saying to yourself, I'm staying here for the next breath. I know several people who've used this very successfully. The other thing that can disturb our peace of mind and our tranquility are the very powerful emotions that we feel. It's very natural to have these emotions, but what you have to do is not identify yourself with them. Never ever say, I am angry, I am upset, I am frustrated. They're just experiences. So change the way you talk to yourself or to someone else. Say, at this moment in time, I am feeling anger. At this moment in time, I'm feeling some frustration. And that way, you don't become the anger because you're not the anger. It becomes just something that momentarily you're feeling. And you can use the breath again to reduce the power of those emotions. Your breath becomes like a little safety valve on a pressure cooker. So you grin a little bit like a Cheshire cat, and then you hiss through your mouth like this. With the idea that you are taking away some of the power and the strength of what you're feeling. It makes a difference. It makes it a little bit easier to let the emotion cool down somewhat. Another way you can do this is to imagine that the emotion you're feeling is like the music that's too loud on the radio or on your iPod or whatever you use. And your breath becomes the control volume. So as you breathe out that little hissing breath, imagine you're turning down the volume of your feelings. So it all becomes a little bit quieter. So remember, the breath is there to help you if you know how to use it. And if you'd like to practice these breaths more, the more you practice them when you're calm, the easier you'll be able to use them when you really need to use them.